I'm putting in an entity called a statement, and that's full of other entities called words. And if I make some mistakes, I can back up a little bit. So I have a statement with some entities' words, and I can do some operations on these. I can copy a word. I can say that word like copy after itself. In fact, that pair of words I like to copy after itself, and I can just do this a few times and get a bit of material there. And there are other entities like text. Say after there, I'd like to copy from that entity point to that point, and it'll copy it. The name, I'll say it's sample file, and I'll say please output it. It says it did. And then it comes back automatically with an origin statement or header telling me the name of the file and the date and the time and who established it. And thereafter I can always do something. I can ask for the status of a file, and it'll tell me that information. It's a very small file now, owned by me, last written by me, and other interesting data in there. So we've seen how we can start with a blank piece of paper and go to developing a file. This file is one statement with a few words in it. Let's make more statements. I'll say copy that statement, and lo and behold I have another one. Copy that one, another one. I can even copy groups of statements. I can say after that one, copy the group from there to there. And it does. I can look at that and say, probably goes off the screen. It'd be interesting if I could ask the computer to collapse that, perhaps to show me just the first line of each of those statements. All right, please do that. So it did. This is one aspect of what we'll use over and over again through this presentation, what we call view control, where no matter where in the file we're looking, we can ask it to use any one of a large number of parameters for constructing a view at that point in the file that best suits our need at the time. This one wants us to give an overview of the thing. So I'll say, well, I have this. I don't want them all to be statement 1, so I'll just replace the word there with a 2. And how about that one with a 3? It's just a place to forget how to count. So I can look and say, all right, got statements 1, 2, 3, and 4. If I'd like to make them a little prettier, I can, and talk to you about the control techniques, control devices, control dialogue, and control meta-language that we're using. Okay, to talk about control devices, we'll use this overhead camera shot where you can see the devices that I'm using. I use 3, and they're not all standard. We have a pointing device called our mouse, a standard keyboard, and a special key set we have here. And we're going to go for a picture down in our laboratory in Menlo Park and pipe it up that'll show you from another point of view more about how that mouse works. Come in, Menlo Park. Okay, there's Don Andrews' hand in Menlo Park. And in a second we'll see the screen that he's working and the way the tracking spot moves in conjunction with movements of that mouse. I don't know why we call it a mouse. Sometimes I apologize. It started that way. Now the keyboard in the middle is essentially a standard typewriter keyboard except for a few special keys out on the side. The computer knows it instantly when you hit one and makes an appropriate response. This device over here is unique to us, and we always have to justify and explain it. We'll do it in reverse order. We'll explain it first. It provides for you the one-hand equivalent of what you can do with a keyboard. There are 5 keys, and normally each finger sits on a key, and depressing any one key at a time produces a character. And any 2 keys at a time also. And in fact, any combination of depressing, of which there are 31 combinations. So Don soon learns and can time it. We developed a message technique, so we can leave messages for each other. Under there are usage conventions, and let me just tell you about that. Underneath here, we direct messages to each other that we can unfold and see. But many times, you didn't want direct messages as much as you just like to go through and leave a message for somebody. So we worked out that the conventions would be, where's an example? The convention we're going to use is that we would send a message to a guy. If I wanted to send Bill English, WKE, a message, I would put that in the file, WKE from DCE, with that pound sign in between. So any statement that's marked like that means there's a message to him from me. If I want to, I can say was also for Dave Evans, like that. So that's from me to both of them. Talk to you about those during open house. And a forthcoming involvement is this ARPA computer network, the experimental network that's going to come into being in its first form in about a year and end up sometime later with some 20 experimental computers in a network. And they hope to be able to transmit across the country with bandwidths of something like 20 kilobits per second, delay times of less than 1/10 of a second, which would be enough so that I could be running a system in Cambridge over the network and getting the same kind of response on a CRT. And it may be that people there, yeah, the next time we have a conference in Boston, I'll try this from there. And in that network, we're going to try to develop a special service to provide network information, relevant network information for people, for the kind of information that it takes to operate such a network. Who's got what services, what protocol do I use to get there, who's up to date, how much, where's the user's guide, where can I find the paper that describes this system that so-and-so offers. And that's going to be a very interesting challenge for us to utilize our tools for organizing and retrieving information. And the last thing here is just a little comment about, after all of this, what's the product that we're providing in this research? Well, we're providing a sample augmentation system, the one we use. And not only that, it's an augmentation system that's provided to augment computer system development. And beyond that, we also are hoping that we're developing quite a few design principles for developing augmentation systems. And these, I hope, are transferable things